Welcome to the Female CEO podcast, hosted by Mark Sephton. You may know her name, but do you know her story? This podcast takes you behind the titles and into the moments that shape some of today's most inspiring women. We explore the paths they've taken, the businesses they've built, and how they've created success on their own terms. Created by the Female CEO Create, Evolve, Overcome, these are honest, human conversations, rooted in real experience. Let the journey begin.
Wow, this is a bit different, isn't it, Tricia? So today we have a special edition of the Female CEO podcast, and I think it's exciting, I think, for me and for everybody that's listening, that we get to put the spotlight on our founder and the Chief Executive Officer of the Female CEO, Tricia Scott. It's great to be with you, Tricia. How are you?
I'm excited. I'm excited, and I was going to say I'm a bit nervous. Mm. I've never been on my own podcast.
Wow.
Isn't that weird? I feel quite honoured, actually.
I think for me it's a privilege to be able to interview you and sit with you and take some time just to put a bit of focus on you. Yeah, so Tricia Scott, you are the visionary founder and CEO of the Female CEO.
I am.
You are a global media brand and digital magazine dedicated to empowering women to lead with authenticity and purpose.
Absolutely.
And you have a mission to redefine the traditional business narrative, and you have managed to build a massive international community that prioritizes real stories, mental well-being, and soul-led success over the standard hustle culture.
Absolutely.
So it's I feel the excitement and the challenge, because I feel like we could go in so many different directions with this. I'm wanting to ask questions for the people, like, so that they are knowing more about you, and also knowing about why you ever created this. And you know, we see the polished headshots when it comes to any sorts of media, you know, the graphics, the way that we show up. But what does the founder at home look like when the cameras are off and the deadline is 5 minutes away? What do you look like behind closed doors? What's going on in you?
Well, first and foremost, the deadline is always 5 minutes away when you do what I do. I have I work under pressure a lot of the time. I do that to myself as well, but so I'm always 5 minutes from a deadline. Always. I'm never not 5 minutes from a deadline. I am who I am. I'm the same person in the office as I am at home. And I believe that I think we can only ever be one version of ourselves. Of course, there are, you talk about the polished headshots, and, we say that, don't we? We say it all the time. I've got some myself, lovely headshots of me in a suit or whatever. But the day-to-day me is what you see now. And it's what you would see if you saw me on a live, or I'm a big advocate for business being real, and that was why it's one of the reasons we built the community we built, because it was a space where you could come, and in the beginning, how it started was, it was a space where you could come and just say the thing that you couldn't say anywhere else. And if you look back on my Instagram, and I'm thinking, please don't, as I say it, my lives are always me with a messy bun or a cup of coffee, or running from place to place, sorting things out. But that's life and that's business. And I just recently watched The Devil Wears Prada 2. And, it's a kind of that whole Miranda Priestley vibe of the editor-in-chief. And, I look at her and I think, if only. But I think we saw a much more human side of it in this particular movie. And I watched it with great interest, because there's no way, you don't have that persona when you're in the house. It's the reason Andy Sachs couldn't go up the stairs in her house, because she had actually a life upstairs in her pajamas. And I think that's the side of leadership that we don't see enough, because the human to human aspect, especially when you're running a business, is what has sustained me in this business all of these years. Being able to sit down with my entrepreneurial girlfriends and be like, oh my God, you'll never believe what's just happened. And then, one of them's, hold my beer, because actually you'll never guess what I've just done. And it's those moments, it's those tiny moments that I think shape businesses, shape people. So who am I? Well, I'm just the same person I am at home. Slightly better dressed sometimes, not always.
Yeah, I think when something is a part of you and not just something that you do, then you don't turn on a switch. You're like this day in, day out. I can really relate to that. Yeah. One thing I want to say is, and I believe I'm saying this for everybody part of the female CEO, is like a massive thank you, because I think that I'm a big believer in going for the win-win, and I always believe there's more than enough to go around. And I think a big part of why we partnered was because we had similar values that are aligned, right? And for me, values are really important. And the one thing that I love about what you've created is it isn't just something that you can have a lot of pride and excitement and enjoyment with, but you've also created this movement of where everybody can be part of it and everybody can benefit from it. And the thousands of people that your magazine will have impact, over the years, and will continue to impact, because one of my favorite quotes is, a rising tide lifts all boats. I think about that a lot when I'm by a harbour near the sea and you see the little rickety old boat with the grand yacht, and yet they're all kind of bobbing up and down. It doesn't discriminate. We're all being lifted by each other. And I feel like the female CEO is very much a wave, an emotion of bringing and rising, each other. How much does that really... Do you really feel into that in terms of what you've created? Do you realise what you've done?
Yes and no. Moments like this, yes. Moments when I talk to founders. So if you're on the newsletter, you get the Biz Love letter every Monday. And that is basically just me telling it like it is. Something that's happened in the week, something that's gone on. And I'm just talking about business and life. And more often than not, someone will email me back and say, I felt like you were talking to me, or thank you. I was once at an International Women's Day event and a woman got me by the hand and she said, you're Tricia, aren't you? And I was like, my instant thought was I didn't do it. Whatever it wasn't me. And she said, you're the female CEO? And I said, yeah. And she said, your Biz Love letter saved my business. She said, I was ready to throw the towel in. She said, and it was just, I felt like you were just talking to me. And the reason it feels like that often is because I'm talking to me, because we're all in the same boat, we're all in the same position, and there can't be a hierarchy when we're all doing the same thing, all different industries, all different businesses, but we all feel the same way. And I think that's so important. So yes and no. Day to day, I'm just working, like I'm just doing the thing, and it's very busy, as you can imagine. It always surprises and delights me when I look, surprises, delights and terrifies me when I look at our numbers. So I think the latest numbers, we were read in 181 countries. But that takes me right back to the very beginning when I was writing that blog under a different name before the female CEO was ever a thing, and I was just trying to be funny, because I like to think I'm funny, on the internet, on a random blog page that nobody would ever read under a different name, about all of the stupid things I was doing because I didn't know how to start a business. And it was equally terrifying to me that everybody would read it and I'd be judged, rightly so in some cases, or nobody would read it, because then I was kind of wasting my time. And I got to be honest, I leaned towards nobody reading it. That was much easier for me. But even now, the fact that people in 181 countries have read our magazine terrifies me, but I'm also kind of thrilled, because I know what we bring is value. And my value when I started the business, the one thing I wanted across the board, and it will remain forever as a female CEO as a business, is there should never be any barrier to entry to any woman who wants to get into starting her own business. And that's why it's free. The Biz Love letter's free, the magazine's free, The platform's free. We have 20 editors in 9 countries who are top coaches, top voices in the industry, who write for us every single month for free. And any woman who can come and read that and take what she needs from it, that to me is enough.
Beautiful.
That does everything for me. That's my why. That's why I keep going.
Yeah.
That's why I started it.
Yeah. And yet I feel like the potential is limitless.
It is. Of course it is.
And the thing that always fascinates me when you're part of something that's not just about one person is when one of us within that community expands, does something incredible. It also then brings expansion to all of us.
Of course it does.
Which is exciting then, because then it really doesn't have any limit.
But how exciting is that ecosystem that we've created? So we give visibility and voice, which serves our audience, which serves our contributors, our writers, our editors, all over the world, all of the time. That blows my mind every day.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy, but it's exciting.
Very.
Tell me, because I want to get into like you a little bit more as a person, and you've already said that you don't necessarily deviate between Tricia at home to Tricia at work. Like, well, maybe what's one un-CEO thing that you've done recently that really just says we're all still trying to figure it out? Can you think of?
Oh God, I do it every day. I do stupid things all of the time. What have I done recently? I can't think of an example. Trust me, I do it permanently. I tell you one thing I have done, and this kind of is an ism, but this will resonate with our audience. Yeah. I know it will. Being perimenopausal as a woman,
okay,
I stood for a good 10 minutes looking at a banana on the bench the other day and thinking, I know what that is. I know it, and I can't think of what it's called. And I stood there, and I wasn't leaving till I knew what that banana was called.
Wow.
And I thought, this is wild. What's going on with my brain?
Wow.
It's crazy, man.
I'm glad I don't have to go through that.
Oh my God, it's honestly...
a proper brain fart.
It's a massive brain fart, and it is permanent. I do it all the time. I have to say, yes, I am perimenopausal, and yes, I will attribute that instance to that, but I do that kind of shit all the time. All the time, yeah. I'm sorry, I haven't got a better example than that, but trust me, it's every day.
I'm sure it'll come. And it may even come when you get revenge and we'll swap roles later, because that's one of the exciting things. If you're listening to this podcast, the next one is when Tricia's going to turn the tables on me. Which
Be afraid.
Yeah, be afraid. I like to look at a moment where maybe it was like 3 a.m. and you're absolutely overwhelmed and stressed during this journey of launching the Female CEO up to now. Of maybe you had that human moment of doubt where you're like, I don't know if I can carry this on anymore. Do you ever have that moment, and kind of how did you decide not to throw in the towel and actually keep going?
It's an excellent question. And now I'm a little bit worried about my own questions for asking you questions. It is an excellent question. And the truth is that happens to me all the time. It still happens now. It happened at the beginning. It happened when the magazine was taken off. It wasn't meant to. It wasn't meant to be a publication magazine. It was my way of thinking I can get all this information in one place so people don't lose it, for our community. And actually, to this, it happens frequently, all the time, where I wake up through the night or I wake up in the morning. I think, am I a big enough container to hold this now? Because this is massive. But it's bigger than me. But that was kind of the point. It's always been the point, because the Female CEO isn't about me. It's about my experience and your experience and everybody else's experience. So reminding myself of that is helpful. But the big thing, the thing that's carried me through every single time without fail is community. Mm-hmm. And it's what our whole system is based on, each other. So we've got that massive Facebook community. We've got launching a brand new community space. It's all about understanding and knowing that there are women in 181 countries out there who are feeling the exact same thing. And if I don't hold this container, if I don't expand to reach those women, where do we go from there? I don't carry the responsibility of those women. I don't need to. They'll be fine. But leaning into that community and knowing that actually, and I see this all the time, because obviously now my network is vast. I have the best job in the world. I talk to people all over the world all of the time. No matter what industry they're in, no matter what job they're doing, no matter what level they're at, we're all facing the same doubts, insecurities and issues, just in different industries and at different levels. And that's what brings the female CEO home, is that we are all in this position. At some point or another, we're all doubting, we're all messing up, we're all cringing at ourselves, thinking, did I just say that? Or did that just happen to me? And the whole point of the female CEO was you could just raise your hand and say, hey, anybody help me with this? That's what we're here for. And that's what I love. And that's the thing that I think to myself, yeah, but I can just go to my community with this. I don't have to be perfect. I'm far from it. I don't pretend to be. I don't want to be. But that's kind of the point. Yeah.
Now, you've built something that does involve other people, which also then takes the pressure off you. You partner with people like myself. You have contributors. What did you say, 20 contributors?
Yeah.
What makes you decide, I'm going to partner or I'm going to contribute? I'm going to have somebody to contribute to something that I've created. What do you look for? What is the alignment that you see where you're like, yes, I want to partner with them, or yes, I want them to write for my magazine? Is there any kind of things that you can say, this is what's important to me?
Well, the first thing, there's two things. The first thing is the contributors and became editors and contributors, or columnists as we call them now, was because our audience was asking for it. I am the first person in the world to stick my hand in the air and say, I don't know the answer to that. And if I don't know, I'm going to tell you I don't know. So there was lots of things that as we grew, our audience was like, oh, have you got anything on this? Do you know anything about that? And I'm thinking, well, no, I don't. So it was born of necessity. So I went out into the world and found people who could answer those questions. That's how all of that began. And now that we do have obviously multiple contributors over multiple countries, it's about how we feel when we're in each other's company. So because when I started, there was me and the girl who set up my community work called Debs. Hi, Debs. I love her. She's still in our community right now. And my mother. And my mother doesn't actually know how to use Facebook and stuff. Well, she does actually, but she was in the community just to support me. And that was it. That's all we had. That was us at the beginning. And now, of course, it's this massive thing. But because every single person that's joined that community, and every single person who replies to my Biz Love letter, and every single person I speak to in the community all over the weeks, I know them because I'm just like them and they're just like me and we're all in the same boat, but also I talk to them. So I know when I sit down with a contributor, or if they, now it's the community will ask for something, and again, just the same, we'll go find it. And when I bring somebody in or I have that conversation, I know if they're the right fit for my audience because I know my audience, because I talk to them. They're just people, and I know the vibe for the magazine. I know what we need on the platform, and equally I know very quickly if it's the wrong fit. And I'm no longer afraid to say, well, actually, this isn't gonna work.
Yeah, straight laced, straight talking, and it always comes from knowing self. I always talk about the alignment. When you're aligned to yourself, your values, your principles. It's much easier to navigate with opportunities and even relationships, whether that's working relationships, friendships, having that point of reference. I think
it is, but it also, it attracts the right people. So the people who come to us to be contributors or columnists, or who I approach, there's a connection there because they know our values. So it's rare that we are approached by somebody who's not aligned, because why would they? But when it happens, I know very quickly, and it's a very nice, easy conversation to have. It's not that person is inherently wrong or bad, or I don't like what they're doing. They're just not our people.
Yeah, I get it. If 10-year-old little 10-year-old Tricia, saw the empire that you've built today, would she be more impressed by the business success or by the woman that you've become personally?
She wouldn't care less about the business. Like, she just wouldn't be bothered. She would think it's absolutely wild. She would, yeah. She would love it, but I don't think the business part of it would impress her at all, actually.
But the woman you've become would?
Yeah, I think so. Because it's, you know, you hear it all the time, don't you? But it takes a lot to become who we are. We go through a lot of things. We face a lot of challenges. So yeah, I think she'd be thrilled.
That's lovely to hear. Are you saying that you like yourself, Tricia?
So most of the time, yes, I do. Yeah. I have my moments like anybody. Mostly moments of doubt, really. And it's usually to do with business. When it's kind of, you know, can I? And now because it changes over the years. But now it's like, can I hold all of this? And the answer is yes. But you know, you have those moments. But yeah, I think yeah. Why not?
I agree. I find it really interesting because I almost wonder whether there's a lot of people that I talk about like emotionally self-harming, which we don't really talk about. We've heard about physical self-harm where people actually will cut their arm as like a way to hurt themselves, but I think people hurt themselves all the time emotionally with the stories that they say, the narrative that goes on in the head.
Yeah.
But it seems like, you know, somebody like you who's creating something and also has a very light and beautiful energy, I'm wondering how much of that derives from your relationship with self and how much work that you put there. Did you put a lot of work into the relationship with you?
Oh yeah, over the years, an awful lot of work. I mean, you and I were talking just before we came on air, you know, and it's that personal development is like the best and the worst of things because yes, and I've done a lot of work and I've, you know, on myself over the years, but it's kind of, once you see it, you can't unsee it. So once you delve into that, into self, and you start really understanding who you are, and I have to say that's been helped so much along the way by learning so much from our contributors. Because don't forget, every single article they write, I read, I proofread, it goes in the magazine, you know, everything runs by me still. Every single article comes by me. So I learn all of this stuff all of the time. I'm so lucky. Actually, I'm almost a fountain of knowledge only by the fact of, you know, the people I have around me all of the time, which I'm really lucky. And actually, anybody listening to this podcast or watching this podcast right now can have that if you read the magazine.
Yeah, beautiful. And I think that it has the scope to obviously go even further and further. And it very much feels like we're really just getting this started, even though there's been a lot of great fruit to see. You know, the numbers have been impressive, and I think there's more growth there, isn't there?
Oh yeah, I mean, the sky's the limit, really, isn't it? With any business now, I mean, we're in the most connected time we've ever been. Has there ever been a better time in history to connect with anybody around the world?
Yeah.
You know, like, and that goes for any business.
Yeah.
Any business. Your customers used to be, you know, someone who would pass your shop window. We shop windows worldwide now, like.
Yeah.
Sky's the limit.
People have access so easily. Now, you carry the aspirations of a massive global community. How do you protect your own creative energy so that you're not just pouring from an empty cup? Because, you know, for me, I've been working with you for a number of months now. I see the chaos. I see the demand. It's like
it's wild, isn't it?
It is wild. How do you keep it going? And interestingly, the one time where you did stop, you know, which happens a lot, you know, you ended up getting sick, which happens a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But how do you manage that? How do you manage your own creative energy?
Well, I get a lot of creative energy from my work.
Yeah.
So in that respect, it's almost like a continuous cycle of, you know, I'm meeting people like yourself, having conversations with women all over the world and them telling me their stories and getting the chance to really, you know, because we're storytellers. Yes, we're a magazine. Yes, we're a platform. Yes, we're all those things. But at our heart, we're really storytellers. So, and I get so much energy from that. I'm really inspired by the women. I am in awe of the women that we feature, all of the time, every single day. And I say it all the time, I've got the best job in the world. So between that and listening to some very loud music, I'm pretty good, really. I'm all right. But I do work an awful lot. But I think that comes with the territory. But would I change it? I might have a few more days off. I might have the odd holiday. But I love it. I get so much energy from it.
So it's just reciprocal.
Yeah, so I'm giving a lot of energy, but I'm also receiving a lot of energy. But that's by way of the business model that we've created.
Yeah, makes sense. I love a story. I always think stories are the most interesting to listen to. So that's one of the things that I always enjoy when hosting a podcast like this one. And we often talk about grit in business, but when was there a time that actually being vulnerable rather than, say, being tough actually maybe saved your business or a key relationship?
I wouldn't say save my business, but moved the business. Was losing my dad. Like, that was the hardest, most devastating thing that's ever happened to me today. Like, it was horrific. And that was the I was on another podcast recently, actually. We talked about this, and they, not me, called it the fuck it principle, because I went back to, I was working full time, I worked in property. I went back to work and I thought, life's too short. The female CEO was growing. It was like a side hustle. It was growing and growing, and it was doing its thing. And I was getting to the point where I didn't know, I couldn't do everything well, and I have to do everything with my whole heart. It's who I am. And I loved my team. Oh my God, if they're watching, they were the best. But I was, something was going to go. And losing my dad was just that, my God, life is just too short. Like, everything is now or never. And that was it. I went into work, and my boss at the time, she knew. And we talked about it, and that was that. And I left, and was it easy? No, it was ridiculously difficult. But the vulnerability that I felt at that time, losing someone who was such a support. So my dad I used to always send my biz love letter. It wasn't called biz love letters then, but I used to send them to him, and he used to read them and come back with all of the spelling mistake. And honestly, he'd be like, yeah, this, because he was so precise of a man, and he was like, and I would fix them. So one of my biggest fans and my biggest supporters, and the guy I went to if I needed any advice on all kinds of stuff, was not there anymore. And leaning into the strength of the team that I worked in corporate, they were amazing. Oh my God, they were incredible. My bosses, my team, everybody, they were just, I don't think I knew it at the time because I didn't have any capacity at all. I wrote a blog called Why I Don't Believe Grief is the Price We Pay for Love. It's on the website. It's still one of our most popular blogs to date. But that was that was how I felt at the time. I didn't know what was going on. I had no idea. But looking back, I was just almost at the mercy of the people around me, because I couldn't really function very well. But again, going back into the community aspect after that, I felt very held. I felt very seen. And it's one of the things that now that we can talk about it, and not just about my dad as a trigger, but all of the things that we can stand by and say, do you know what, I just need some help here. I'm not Superwoman. You know, it says on my website, you can contact me if you like, but I'm not Superwoman. Like, I'll get back to you, but it's not going to be today, you know? But I'm all about that.
It's beautiful. I know that can't be an easy path of losing your father.
Horrific.
Yeah, it's something that I can't say that I'm looking forward to either. And I think people will really be able to relate to that. And
it was a shock. It wasn't. Yeah. It was like, it was very quick. It was horrendous. But I also feel very guided and very, very loved. And I feel very lucky for that.
Beautiful. We've only got a few moments left. So as always,
That's because I talk too much.
No, it's not. It just goes quick, you know, when you're having fun. Yeah, we've only got a few moments left, and then it's revenge, because then we're gonna swap seats, which is amazing. Do you have one final thought that you want to leave people, or anything that you want to say? Do the thing. Just do the thing. Whatever it is that's on your heart, just do the thing. Like, as long as it's, as long as you truly think, if it's something that you believe in, and when it comes to business particularly, just try it. It might work, it might not. But you know what? If you've got the right community around you and the right support, you can really do anything. Like, I would never have said I'd be doing this as a business. Like, this, it wasn't a plan, it wasn't meant to be. Obviously it was meant to be, but it wasn't a part of my plan. Just try it. Give it a go. What's the worst that can happen? Exactly. And if you're struggling, or if you don't have that support system around you at home that you can reach into, come and join ours. You can sit with us. We'll just keep building a bigger table, and it'll be fine. I love that. I feel like we could definitely do a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth of these. Could go deeper and wider. It's been really great to put the spotlight on you, and thank you for who you are and what you've created here. And I thank you for hosting our podcast, for really seeing and really hearing, because it's a very different thing to listen and to really hear somebody. And when I listen to our podcast episodes where you host, you hear the women that we have on board, and that is so important. So thank you. You've been listening to the Female CEO podcast, created by the Female CEO Create, Evolve, Overcome. This podcast amplifies women's voices, stories, and lived experience. Subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on our YouTube channel, and discover more at thefemaleceo.com.